Hey everybody out there, it's Chris. It's the Mad Respect. We're back with another video this week. Got a pretty big mail call coming up. We got a couple of FOC orders from Billy at Economics and Comics. Week 2's comics from November 8th from the Discount Comic Book Service. And we'll finish up the unboxings with a comixtribe Kickstarter a miniseries called Epic that finished up this year. It was an older comixtribe book that they had kickstarted. I believe it was their very first ever Kickstarter, and it ran through. I believe it's a 4-issue series with a one shot, but it stopped at issue 3 years ago, and then the creator, who's also the publisher of comixtribe, and the artist finally found time to wrap up the initial miniseries. And there was a tier where I could get all 5 issues, catch-up tier, and I got on that, not one of the first ones, but I was on it early enough that I was able to get the single issue catch-up, and that eventually sold out, and it turned into a trade paperback catch-up that those backers are still waiting for the collected edition, whereas my rewards have arrived. So I always start every video with a few reviews from my last comics I opened from my last video. This one's definitely going to be a bit more brief than my previous video. The last couple of videos have been exceeding 90 minutes. I'm hoping this one I can keep down closer to about an hour, but we'll see. So let's start with Something is Killing the Children. This is issue number 34 with the FOC reveal variant cover by E.M. Gist, who I found out his name is Eric Gist. I heard his middle name recently on in the community on a YouTube video, and I've already forgot what the K stands for, but he signs it E.K. Gist, but that's Eric Gist. Maybe that's like, it's Eric with a K, and he just shortens Eric to E.K. I don't know. But that's the duplicitype masquerading as Erica Slaughter attacking Cecilia from the House of Slaughter. Misleading FOC cover. This does not happen in the book. This book is basically the penultimate issue to the entire 15-issue arc, which is called Showdown at the OK Corral, which is not called Showdown at the OK Corral. I think it's the Easy Creek Corral. We'll get in here and look at that real fast. Showdown at the Easy Creek Corral. And I believe the entirety of the arc is entitled, I can't remember. It's something about New Mexico. This arc takes place in New Mexico. Erica has shown up in New Mexico and discovered there's another child, this time a little girl, who had watched their family slaughtered by a monster. And in this case, it's a monster called the duplicitype, who is not invisible like the obscura types from the initial arc, but can mimic anything it has seen or physically sampled, kind of a takeoff on the T-1000 from Terminator in a sense. But so this mainly arc is Erica has shown up here in New Mexico, discovered this child, or at the same time, the House of Slaughter, since Erica quit at the end of the initial arc, at the end of the Archer's Peak job, she quit the order, but when you join the Order of St. George, you join for life. You cannot just quit. So she is now excommunicated from the order, and they hire a woman from the House of Cutter, which is located in the UK, they hire Cutter to travel to the United States and take care of the problem of Erica Slaughter. She is there to terminate Erica Slaughter with prejudice. That is what she's been hired to do. So this entire arc has been basically Cutter toying with the local police here in New Mexico, pretending to be an FBI agent and trying to put all of the blame for all of the murders that have been going on Erica, which is made easier by the fact that the Obscura type will eventually choose its final form, which is the form of the creature it finds most terrifying. And in this case, the Obscura type finds Erica to be the most terrifying creature it has ever encountered. So it is walking around looking pretty much exactly like Eric Slaughter, except with this giant eyeball as a belly. So that's a dead giveaway that it's not just Erica. So this is in this penultimate issue. Erica, the little girl, and her aunt are holed up at the Easy Creek Corral, and they're going to lure the Duplicitype in with the girl, using the girl's screams. And then Erica has dipped arrows and is using a bow and arrow, and the arrow is tipped with some kind of poison that is like an instant kill for this type of monster. And so Erica rides off on a horse to set up on the blind of the hill, and the aunt is supposed to lure in the Duplicitype, and the girl is to scream, so that as it's running towards the aunt and hearing the girl, it'll run right past Erica, and Erica will shoot it with an arrow. Unfortunately, after Erica and the aunt leave the girl to herself, Cutter did the Cape Fear and was like hanging under the car that they've been driving around the whole time until they get to their final destination. And then Cutter falls out, and now Cutter's alone with the girl, and the girl's like, I'm gonna scream, and that's my job here, is to scream. And like Cutter's like, oh, I'll make you scream. And so all of a sudden the aunt hears the little girl screaming, and she's like, that doesn't sound right, I gotta go help her. And she's like, no, you have to stay here and lure it in so I can get the shot. And she's like, no, there's something wrong, I gotta go. So the aunt takes off, and the whole plan is foobar at that point. So Erica, the monster's still coming right at Erica on the horse, but since Erica doesn't have the distraction of the aunt, the Duplicitype is easily dodging and swatting down these arrows. So then Erica hears the girl scream again, and she's like, all right then, let's go to plan B, and turns tail and runs towards the house where everybody's at. And as she's coming, she sees Cutter on the porch holding the girl by the neck. And so Erica pulls a arrow out, pulls back the bow, shoots it. You see it going directly towards Cutter's head, and right before it comes up, Cutter calmly lifts up, grabs the arrow in midair, and goes, interesting. I wonder what this does. Let's find out. And jams it into the back of the little girl. End story. Final part, Something's Killing the Children, number 35, I believe is coming out on the 22nd, and if not, the 29th of November. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this arc runs. Other community members have given up on the title, saying nothing has been going on, that Tinian is dragging the story out excessively, but I've always been on board. I like it. I give it one of my higher recommendations. Next up, we have Void Rivals, issue number 5, from Robert Kirkman and Lorenzo Di Felici. This is the penultimate issue of the initial arc, which is the beginning of the Energon universe at Skybound Comics for Image, where they're bringing in G.I. Joe and the Transformers. Each issue of this series has had a backup scenario that involves a Transformer. These two alien warring cultures, two of their soldiers crash land on a planet, a la Enemy Mine movie, and they have to put aside their differences to help themselves survive this hostile planet. In the first issue, they uncover the what would you call it? Like hibernating form of Jetfire, the Autobot Jetfire, and wake him up. And he's like, "Oh, where are the rest of the Autobots? Last I knew, I was fighting the Decepticons. What year is it? What time is it?" And they're like, "We don't know, man. Could you help us?" But he's like, transforms and flies off. And they're like, Wait for us, wait for us. So that was issue 1. In the second issue, they build shelter. They're helping each other take care of things, and then either one or the other they wear these masks. I'll show you them. This cover is not good because he's unmasked on the cover, but I'll show you. Let me go here. So yeah, they're usually in one tribe wears a mask that looks like this. The other one's more of a yellow armor as so, with more of a black helmet. So they're both helmeted as soldiers, and one or the other decides to unmask to the other. So the other unmasks, and they find out that they're both humanoid in form, but one has like a red gem in the middle of their forehead, and the other one has a green gem. So this is the first time 2 members of these cultures have unmasked to each other, and so it's been a secret even from like the rulers of these societies. No one knows that everybody is kind of the same humanoid at heart. So now that they've unmasked and they know each other and they're helping each other survive, another ship flies through, and this one is being piloted by a Skuxoid, who I believe was introduced in IDW Transformers comics in the past. I'm not familiar with Skuxoids, but the Skuxoid offers to fly them off planet, so they're flying off planet with him. And the Skuxoid has taken captive a Quintesson, who was first appeared in the Transformers, the movie, and then later in a series called The 5 Faces of Death. Quintesson is basically a floating Transformer with like a lizardy looking tail, and then there's like a different face, and it rotates around 5 times. There's 5 different faces, and there's going to be a series of variant covers for, I believe, issue number 5, second printing, that there'll be the 5 different faces of the Quintesson, and that's coming up here in a few weeks. I believe it's called like Rage, Deception. I don't remember what they're called, but each cover has a title of what the name of the face is for that Quintesson. Although there already has been a second printing variant with a Quintesson already. And we'll be looking at some of these Transformers character portrait second printings here when we get to Billy's FOC. But anyway, so all that to say, and then I believe in later issues, Shockwave appears. And then in this issue, again, there's the Quintessons and Shockwave. But the main gist of this is, after they escape the planet, they heist a ship off of the Skuxoid's junk ship and fly back. They're heading towards one of the civilization's planets. And the female says, let's fly down there, and I'll say you're my prisoner, and it'll just be easier that way. And he's like, no, why don't you just let me fly off in an escape pod, and then you just land, and then I'll go where I need to go. And she's like, and she shocks him unconscious and goes, I'm sorry, it has to be this way. When I get down to the planet, her ruler meets her and goes, we're so happy you're back and you have a prisoner here, but I just need to know one thing. Did he show you his face? And she doesn't say anything, but he can just know just by looking at her. So they cut to him in prison, and he's in prison, and then she is put into the same cell with him, and he's like, oh, this is a fine mess we're in, you know? So in this issue, they're still in the cell together. He's being tortured. They're pretty much leaving her alone for the most part. But then you found out in the issue prior to this that his ruler is in direct contact with the other ruler, and they both are unmasked to each other. And they know the score, and they want to keep it secret that everyone's all the same humanoid type, you know? Whereas these two, if they get their way, they're going to fucking expose it. So they're both marked for death. His ruler tells the other ruler, he's expendable, he's dead, just get whatever information you have of him, and I don't care if you kill him. And so in this issue, after they're done torturing him, they then take the girl and drag her out of the cell. And he's like, no, leave her alone. Just kill me. She doesn't know anything. And then after she leaves, while he's in the cell, he has a little hand robot that kind of talks to him. It's kind of like Skeets from Blue Beetle. Sort of a thing that you can ask questions, and it can, how many enemies do I have to face? Oh, there's this many. What are my percentages of living? How much oxygen do I have? Questions like that, and it will reply. So he asks his hand, how fucked am I? And no reply. He's like, oh, they took the hand. That sucks. And all of a sudden, the little boy's in the cell, and he's like, okay, sir, it's time to go. I brought your hand. And he's like, really? And then the hand's like, yes, he brought me here. And so the little boy helps him escape, and they're crawling through like a narrow thing out of the cell. And when they finally get up to where they can stand, there's a whole group of other people of her species. Some are masked, some are unmasked, and they're like, well, it's good to see you here. You're going to be a great hero for us. We're going to expose this thing. And he's like, no, I'm not going anywhere until we save her. And they're like, she hasn't told you anything, has she? Penultimate issue. Looking forward to seeing how this concludes in issue 6 and how it moves on from there, and just where this falls into the timeline with Daniel Warren Johnson's now ongoing Transformers series, and then G.I. Joe on top of that. Alright, next up is The Nasty from the great John Lees, with art by Adam Cahoon, and I believe it's Wyatt Russell, and then Campbell on letters. This cover is by Sally Cantriano. Red Ennis makes shopping fun. This is basically just a character building issue. It has a flashback to our character here, Thumper, when he was a little boy, how he would be scared of... He was okay with these slasher movies starring Red Ennis, but then when he would see like a more adult or more shocking horror movie, he would have nightmares and cry and have trouble going to sleep. And his mom's like, well, if you can't handle these horror movies, I'm not going to let you watch any. Stop being a wee brat, you know. And so this is continued forward to now as an adult. She's like, when are you going to stop wasting your time? Making this movie idea is stupid. It's never going to work. No one's ever going to care. This has been the whole thing since you were a kid, wasting all your time with horror. And he basically, at this point, tells her to fuck off. You know, you've always been like this to me. You know. And then at the end, they kind of make up. And she tells him a story about why she's always been so hard on him. But then, in the main arc of the story, they're filming scenes where, because of the possessed videotape of the band Video Nasty, I think it's called The House of Creeping Flesh, they found a copy of that, and then they told people, we're going to show this at a festival to try to save their local video store. But when they put the tape in, it was immediately eaten by the VCR, and when they pull it out, it's all red and smoking. And they're like, well, the movie's gone now, and now they have to recreate a movie because no one's ever seen this band Video Nasty. So they're like, well, we'll just make a movie ourselves, show it at the festival, and everyone will think it's the House of Creeping Flesh. So, but the tape is possessed by a demon somewhat, and so just by starting to play the tape, it has become alive, and it also, his whole life, Thumper has had his imaginary friend, which is a version of Red Ennis, who is his best friend, and no one else can see, as all imaginary friends are. But the possessed tape makes it so everybody can see Red Ennis when cameras are rolling. And Red Ennis can murder people while cameras are rolling, but as soon as you cut the camera, everybody's alive again. So in, I believe, issue 3, Thumper's friend, who's acting in the film, Red Ennis comes out while the camera's rolling and rips his head off and tears him in half. And then Thumper yells, cut. And then you see the boy sit up and he's alive. He's like, wow, that was mental. That was the cruelest thing that's ever happened. But in this issue, the main actress is running from Red Ennis. And then Red Ennis is holding her and choking her out. And she's screaming like, stop, stop. And then so Thumper yells, cut. And he's still choking her, about to snap her neck. And he's like, Red, I said cut. And finally he's like, okay. So now Red Ennis is not under control of when the camera stops rolling. So the main actress quits. So Thumper asks his best friend Mira, who's the other main character in this, well, you wrote the script, you know this movie better than anyone. I want you to take over as the main actress. And that's kind of where we're at here. This is issue 4. This would, I guess, be the midpoint. I believe this was originally solicited as an 8-issue series. Issue 5 has been solicited. I believe it's coming out, if not in December, then possibly in January. And then there are no solicits through February for any issues after that. I will discuss with John. I'm on his mailing list if he knows what the holdup is and if it's going to continue to have more delays. And on a John Lee's bent, here is his partner in crime for Sync, Alex Cormack, here working again with Rich Doak, Sea of Sorrows, Road of Bones, Breath of Shadows. Another 3-word title, but not this of this. This time it's Drive Like Hell. And this is about a car thief and bank robber who steals a possessed car from a demon. So at the start of the issue, you see the demon driving around in his car doing demon things. And then at the same time, you see the robber, and he's kind of down and out, and he gets a call from his, I don't know if it's his girlfriend or just a female friend, who's like, oh, we got a job lined up, you just need to find the car, and you're going to be the getaway driver as usual. And he's like, all right. And then after the call, he's walking through a parking lot, and he sees the car, and he's like, well, hello there, beautiful, because it's a T-top Ford, it's beautiful, it's cherry, he wants it. He jumps in it. He's hot wiring it, and inside the demon is murdering another group of gangsters. He's like a demon gangster, and he hears the car starting up. He's like, what the fuck? And he goes outside, and our character is driving away with the car. And so next day, they go through with the bank robbery. He's waiting to take off as the getaway driver, and all of a sudden, 2 of the robbers are running out like, start the car, we gotta go now, something went wrong. So what went wrong is the demon interrupted the robbery, all Michael Madsen and Reservoir Dogs, and just started shooting everybody in the bank and killed some of the robbers, killed everybody else in the bank. And then the girl jumps in the car with him, and she's like, peel out. And as they peel out, he shoots her in the head, and she's dead. So he's, throughout this issue, driving with a dead body. And towards the end, dead body animates and is like, all right, that was crazy. We gotta keep driving. He's like, yeah, we do. She's like, drive faster. He's like, I don't know if I can drive that fast. And behind him is all these demon-possessed cop cars, trucks, monster trucks. They're all on his ass. And that's how this first issue ends. Great, intense artwork that, as always, Alex Cormack draws like people who are like under extreme pressure or sweating or like losing their fucking mind better than any other artist. Definitely one of my top 5 favorite artists that I've discovered since coming back into the community. Drive Like Hell #1. High recommendation. Next up from Ron V and Felipe Andrade is Rare Flavours issue #2. This issue, the dish is roasted mutton with super hot peppers. So they're driving around with the documentarian and a man who knows where the fields are where you can harvest these super hot peppers. And the gist of this is our main character here is a 7,000-year-old Hindu demon of war who has spent the history of mankind creating and causing war and has a giant death count. Okay, that's just who he is. But then he woke up one morning, saw the obituary. Anthony Bourdain has died. And that is his other great love, other than people and the killing of them. His other great love is food and culture. And his favorite show, of course, was Parts Unknown with Anthony Bourdain, which also featured my friend over here, Mr. Mark Lanigan, in an episode of Parts Unknown. Great episode. Anthony Bourdain visits Seattle, discusses serial killers, grunge. Mark Lanigan interviews him. They go to have a restaurant together. Mark has several songs in the episode, and then does a, as to then, first ever performance of the song Strange Religion over the final part of the show in the end credits. And at the end, Bourdain lights up his first legal joint in the state of Washington, because at that point, marijuana had been legalized here in Washington. So Anthony's dead. This demon's like, I'm gonna quit being the god of war, and I wanna replace Anthony Bourdain. I wanna make the best documentary ever about food and places and culture. So they're obviously there in Delhi or wherever Ramvi is from, India. So they're there in India. He finds a documentary filmmaker who's kind of washed up, and his mother died thinking he was a failure. And so he's quit. And so this guy comes up and he's like, I want you specifically to make this documentary. It's going to be the greatest documentary about food and culture ever. The guy's like, fuck off, I quit. My mom died, I'm a failure, I quit. And so he leaves him, he's like, I can't believe I was turned down. And then the first issue was about, I can't remember what they made in the first issue, I can't remember, it's last month. But the first issue, they're discussing the dish with a person at a roadside stand. And then by the time the documentarian comes back and has decided, oh, okay, I've changed my mind, the guy running the stand is gone. And this guy has made, I believe he made, oh, that's what it is, he made a chai tea in the first issue. So he learned from this guy at the stand how to make the best chai tea there could possibly be. And so when he gets back to the stand, our demon here is by himself with 2 cups of tea, and he's like, try it. And if you don't like it, you can quit. So he tastes it, he's like, this is the best thing I've ever tasted. I'm on board for this. Let's make this documentary. At the meantime, there's 2 other denizens of hell, demons, who are on the trail of this guy because they know he quit, but they know he's still a demon, and they have to make sure he's not on Earth causing trouble. So they're there to kind of take him down. And so they've been chasing him. And then you find out at the end of the first issue that to learn the secrets of the culinary mastery of the tea, of the peppers, of whatever, he has to eat the master or the expert on it. So the demon will eat and obtain the knowledge, and then that knowledge he can then become a great chef, he can basically become as great as Anthony Bourdain was as a chef by eating great chefs. So in the first issue, he eats the chai tea, roadside stand person. In the second issue, he eats the guy who's been, he's like kind of a guide who guided them to the field where these hottest peppers in the world are at. But then in this issue, he comes clean with a documentarian and says, I'm a 7,000-year-old demon of death and war, and I've eaten the last 2 people from the documentary. And the guy's like, yeah, that's funny, dude. I'm too drunk to do this. Nice joke, and he walks away. And then the demon cops come up and say, we're here to take you out. We know you've eaten those 2 people. This is never going to work. And then our demon manages to elude them, jumps into the van with our other guy and says, I'm driving, I know you're drunk. And he's like, we have to leave now? He's like, yeah, our guide got sick and he's staying here to be with family or something, but we gotta get out of here right now. There's something wrong, and there's like people gonna rob us. So they drive off, and that's how this issue ends. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes. And at the end of each issue, you see the documentarian at the premiere of the documentary sitting with other members of his family, but there's an empty seat where the demon should be sitting, and the demon hasn't shown up to the premiere yet. All right, second to last, we have Universal Monsters Dracula from James Tynion IV with Martin Simmons, the team on the top-notch Department of Truth series at Image. This is also from Image, I believe Image Skybound. This is basically 1931's Dracula by Todd Browning. We have the film and everything that happens in the film. This is all of the scenes that occur off camera during the film. So it's not based on the novel itself, although there is stuff, I believe there's probably stuff from the novel laced in, because Tinian has a afterword in this that says that was one of his obsessions as a child, was Dracula, and particularly the Bela Lugosi Dracula. So this has amazing art by Martin Simmons. The depiction of Renfield is frightening and disgusting and disturbing. Just a negative space face with red and yellow bloody teeth and black eyes. And he's just telling Dr. Seward, the master's coming for all of us. He's going to get us. And the people in the asylum think that Renfield has murdered all of the sailors and passengers on the Demeter on its way back from England. On its way back from England with Dracula. So they don't know there's a Dracula, and they don't know who they're talking about, the master. And so at the end of the issue, basically, they show Dracula like watching over Mina and Lucy from afar, and you see Lucy kind of get glamored a little bit, and then they have a scene where Jonathan Harker is talking with Dr. Seward about Renfield, and then he's like, "I want you to forget about Renfield and just take care of Mina, Lucy, yes, Mina Marie, and Lucy Seward, yeah, take care of Lucy. I want you to." So I always thought that Jonathan was with Mina for some reason, but maybe that's in Bram Stoker's Dracula only. But and then I always thought that Jonathan was back in Transylvania before the trip over, but maybe that's only in Bram Stoker's Dracula. I haven't seen Dracula in a long time. So at the end of the issue, they come to Renfield and say, we have a rare blood transfusion procedure that we think can really help you, and you won't want to eat bugs anymore. And he's like, no, you can't take my blood. My blood is my master's. And that's how this issue ends. And then you see Dracula's red eyes open at the end. He's like, my master will not let it happen. My blood is his. You cannot take my blood. You cannot change my blood. Great ending, great art, great story, great book. Looking forward to seeing how it continues. I'm really interested to see what the next Universal monster they're going to choose for the next miniseries. And last but certainly not least, this is Dark Spaces Dungeon from Scott Schneider with Hayden Sherman and colors by Del Peche. This is cover B by Dustin Nguyen. There we go, Dustin Nguyen. I didn't forget for once. Not only is this my favorite comic from the last box, this is probably the best comic I've read this year. It's basically, the story's been told before. It's a serial murderer who abducts his victims, keeps them trapped underground in underground bunkers. I've seen it before in Kiss the Girls by James Patterson. There's all sorts of serial killer movies and stuff and fiction about people who keep their victims in underground bunkers. But this story, you see basically what occurs on this variant cover by Nguyen. This is the first 2 or 3 pages of the issue. You see a little boy escape from one of these bunkers, run out through a field into a street where he's almost hit by a car. And they're like, "Are you okay?" And he's all dirty and looks as like his bones are broken in certain ways, and you can definitely tell he's not okay. And it cuts forward 20 years, maybe 15 years, and you see a man and his son. He's putting his son to bed. And they're making up a story about how his stuffed frog, while the boy sleeps, travels to Budapest and Canada and Timbuktu, everywhere. He's like, "This is while you're sleeping, Froggy's doing all this." And he's like, the boy's like, "Keep telling the story and that'll help me sleep." And then the boy, right before he falls asleep, he's like, "Is Froggy really going to go to all these places?" And he's like, "No, your Froggy's going to be cuddling you here all night. You can sleep knowing you wake up and Froggy will be there." So his boy goes to sleep, he wakes up, he goes in with his son and goes, damn, that frog's got so many freaking flyer miles on me. I wish I could go to all these places this frog goes, you know? And so they both go to bed, and then she's like, I ain't got a place you should go tonight. How about we go to bed together, you know? So he's like, oh, that sounds good. So they go to bed together, and then the next scene he wakes up, he's jogging in the morning, and he trips over a rivet in the ground and falls on his face, and then he gets up and he's like, what the fuck? And he goes back and he looks back to what he tripped on. He's found the lid to one of the dungeons. And then we cut to a hostage negotiator / FBI agent who is dealing with hostage situation, and they want to do it with like kind of like the forceful way, with like busting down the door and killing the perp, and he wants to talk, you know, and so he's kind of made fun of because he's the guy who'd prefer to bring everyone down easy and no fatalities, you know, because that's the way he works. And so after he defuses this hostage situation, he gets a beep on his phone saying, call me. He calls. It's his superior in the FBI. They're like, we found another, and it's yours. So next he's visiting the dungeon with the father, walking through it, and the guy's like, I didn't know what it was when I found it, but then I realized what it was the further I went in, and I got scared, and I came up and I immediately called the authorities. And the FBI agent's like, yeah, I know all about these. I've been studying them. We found 5, and we're certain there's upwards of 20 in the United States and abroad, you know. This is a very serious killer, a very dedicated killer, and this is what he does. He makes these, and he uses them to torture people. And then they get to the final part of it, and he's like, here's what he does. He brings the person down, usually a young child, and there's all these bricks on the wall. And from above, he can manipulate the bricks so they will break one bone at a time, over and over again, until they set, and then break them again, and over again. And that is how you live in this dungeon. And so, as they're looking at the dungeon, the guy's like, the father sees in the wall, there's fingernails stuck in the wall. He's like, oh, this is horrible. I hope this wouldn't suffer much. I wonder if he's alive. And the FBI agent's like, oh, he's alive. He's me. So that's the whole story, basically. But then the last 2 pages, sorry, I don't know if anyone's upset with me getting emotional on my videos. But yeah, this is what makes it my favorite comic here. Last 2 pages. On this side, you have the detective, FBI agent in his office with all the crime scene material and information they've gotten for the case so far. On this page, you have the father. So here you have the agent, and he starts to shake, and he puts his head down, and he's crying because he's still tortured by the fact that this is going on, and that they found his dungeon that he had been in. And then the father is at home, and then on this side, I believe this is the killer here. No, this is where this is the FBI agent falling apart. And I believe on the previous page they show. So, yeah, on these pages they show the killer, and then here's what one of his current victims look like, and this is what the bricks are doing to them. So, and he looks at his phone, and he's all of his phone notifications are what this FBI agent who escaped his trap is doing with his life. That's all he gives a shit about. This guy escaped his trap. He's not too happy about that. So, these last 2 pages again, he's looking at these crime scenes. He's here, he's thinking about it. He can't handle it, he's crying. And then the father receives a phone call, picks it up, and all it says is, "You shouldn't have done that." He's like, "What? Who is this? I'll be seeing you soon." So, I'm really worried about this guy's family. I'm really worried about the detective. That is why this is the best comic I've read all year. Love it. 100%. Highly guaranteed. Alright, let's get into some new comics. And cheer up a little bit. Alright, here's some FOC pre-orders from Billy at Economics and Comics. These, some of these are older books because I believe there was a damage on one set of comics, and then a lot of books have pushed release dates. These comics are from I believe week 2, from the 8th, and then I believe. So first up we have Spine Tingling Spider-Man issue number 2 from Saladin Ahmed with impeccable art from Juan Ferreira, and he does our A cover here. And all the new cover A's for November, at least for this week, since the movie's out now, have this awful The Marvels swipe over the top. Had I known that, I would have definitely opted for a variant on all Marvel comics for this week. Unfortunately, I believe my Punisher number 1 has this ugly swipe on the top when we get to that. So I really enjoyed issue number 1. It's definitely horrific. It has the first Spine Tingling Spider-Man was all Peter Parker having a extended nightmare over like 80 pages, but it was originally a what'd you call it? It was originally a digital series. This one is straight to print, I believe. So this is the sequel to the first Spine Tingling Spider-Man, but this is more of a, I believe, a waking hours type of story, but this Peter in a horror comic. Peter Parker in a horror comic. And in this one, he's on a ghost train with a conductor who's trying to end his life, basically. He's chasing him to the train throughout the first issue. So, and this one continues this. So this is 4 issues. So that's issue 2. For some reason, Billy had this on like a half cover price special at FOC. I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe Marvel gave him additional discount at FOC for it. I'm not entirely sure, but I think I paid $2.99 and then a discount on top of that I get for being his channel member. So that's the main reason I continued collecting the series. I had issue 1. I actually forgot to do this on my discount comic book service order. But then when I saw it was on discount still, and I could still order number 3 at discount from Discount Comic Service, I'm like, I'll finish out the series. I enjoyed number 1 that much. Next up is the new maxi series at Image from James Tynion IV. More James Tynion. I'm pretty much a fan for life now. This was James Tynion IV with art by Joshua Hickson, who drew Children of the Woods, one-shot graphic novel from Dark Horse. He drew the great The Plot at Vault with Michael Marecci and Tim something. Tim and Michael Marecci and Joshua Hickson did The Plot at Vault. That was one of my favorite new series when I was just getting back into the community. Thank you, Dylan at Dylan's Horror Show, for that recommendation, and thank you for James Tynion IV too, because Dylan at Dylan's Horror Show made a top 10 current horror series that I'm reading right now that are my favorites, and basically I was his I would be Dylan's apprentice at this point, because I checked them all out, and everyone was a banger. Definitely. Thank you, Dylan, for making that video, and specifically as I was coming back into the community back in 2020. So this is The Deviant. It's a Christmas horror story. This is a cover. This is the 1 in 10 variant. On even online now, if you go and check out the 1 in 10 anywhere, it'll say it's Martin Simmons, but clearly it is a. You can see that. Clearly it is Danny. Danny of cover C. So this is yeah, cover C, the 1 in 10 variant by Danny. And Billy put a 10 on the back, notating the 1 in 10. And then the last one from this FOC order, because I didn't know if Discount Comic Service was going to withhold my book, because this was listed as allocations may occur. This is Batman Superman World's Finest, issue number 20, the Magog spot foil helmet variant. So I went ahead and picked up one of these from Billy. And then maybe like a week later, I found out that I was going to be receiving my copy from Discount Comic Service, and did. So maybe on a future video of the channel, when we get closer to any other milestone, maybe this will be part of a giveaway at some point. Now I have two. All right, here's a second FOC. These are older books. These are all extra printings. And Billy has a great video up on Sunday, his weekly top 10 comic books to buy video that he has every Sunday, where he has a giveaway for anyone who's subscribed to the channel and leaves a comment on the video. You get randomized for a prize every Sunday. He puts that video out, and you have probably until, probably 4 or 5 days to make that comment, and then he'll randomize all the comments on the video and give away a prize. And then specifically last week's video, he went on a lengthy rant about the state of the industry, how there are too many channels. They're complaining about other YouTubers, complaining about new comics suck, and whatever. And that's my beef since I've come back into the community. There are channels that are specifically out there to tell you that new comics, don't give them any chance at all. They've sucked for 10 years. They pick on certain creators excessively. But on the other hand, they do make fun. If there is a shitty comic, they rightfully make fun of it and point it out. But then if here's a few comics that they never even read, just because of based on creator. They never read the last Punisher series from Jason Aaron, Jesus Saez, and Paul Ezeketa. They might have read issue 1, I can't remember, but they definitely didn't finish it, and they wrote it off as Jason Aaron is writing such a shitty run on Avengers that this can't possibly be any good. We're giving it our stamp of disapproval. Don't even read it. That was the best Punisher series I've read, probably since the Zek and Grant Zek Beatty miniseries, possibly. Maybe some of the weird one-off issues of the Punisher Volume 2 run from Mike Barron. Some of those are good, but as a whole, as a one cohesive maxi series or one story arc, that was definitely the best series I've read in who knows how long. Not only with the Punisher, but for pretty much a lot of characters. It was definitely better than the 120 issues that Garth Ennis did with the Punisher, because Garth Ennis, they were good, but he kind of almost turned it into a parody of the Punisher, where there's way too much humor in Garth Ennis's Punisher work, in my opinion. All right, here's some extra printings in this FOC order. This is Transformers. This is issue number 1 in the second printing. These covers are by, I have this guy's name in my head. I'll probably stand back here. Oh, yeah. Jason Howard is doing these character spotlight variants on the Transformers extra printings. This is clearly Starscream with the Decepticon logo behind. Before this, there has been a Quintesson cover, and I believe one other, and I'm blanking on the character. Oh, it was Jetfire. Jetfire was the first. And next we have Transformers number 1. This is also a second printing. This is the Optimus Prime character spotlight from Jason Howard. One of these two was the reason this box was held up. One of these two came in damaged, and Billy waited on a replacement for me. Thank you very much, sir. Since Transformers came out so long ago, and I read one of my original covers, which all came damaged from the discount comic service. Thank you for the 10% off of my damaged comics. I had two choices. 10% off, pay to ship them all back for a full refund and lose the comics. Those are my two choices. I just took the 10% off and kept them. They weren't horribly mangled, but it was like, hey, let's get the order together. And then they put the wrap around them that they usually do, and then where's the box? And it's like they dropped them on one end. Obviously, horrid drop bends on like probably a dozen to 15 issues in that particular order. Hasn't happened before or since. So I've been using discount comic book service since 2020. And if that was the first time I had significant damages, the only other damage I've ever had with discount comic book service is one time when they put a book in a bag and board, the cover flipped and bent, did a corner bend on the back, and I believe that's unintentional, you know. So I don't put that on them as much as the bends last month on my Transformer number 1s back on. And finally, for this FOC order, we have Rare Flavours issue number 1. This is the third printing. The second printing was allocated, but discount comic book service came through. That was a character spotlight of our demonic main character, and in the third printing is a character spotlight of our documentarian. So Ramvi, Flippy Andrade, I believe these are Andrade character spotlight variants. Very cool. I thought this was probably what was damaged and was holding up the order, because Boom seems to take longer replacing damages or refusing to replace damages from what I've heard. But it was, in fact, Image and one of those Transformers books. All right, here's the big one for the week. This is week 2 pre-orders from November 7th and 8th from the Discount Comic Book Service. We're at an hour. Getting close to an hour. Let's see if we can not go to an hour 30 this week. We'll find out. I'm gonna put this down. Let's see how it's gonna be. Is there one of these in here? This one. Alright, that's somewhat easier. Ooh. Ooh, that's a big boy. Alright, so they used to shrink them, especially when I was on a bag and board, ordering my bags and boards to them. They used to do a shrink wrap over all the books, but now they're just repurposing a magazine bag that you pretty much have to destroy to get the books out. So cannot reuse said magazine bag after getting the books out. So I'll cut that one there. So get the rubber band off. Pull that. Put this over here for a sec. Whew. Let's see, backwards. Now it's forwards. There we go. Okay. That's good like that. Oh, that's a back cover too. So these are all back covers. Alright, there's that. Flip these over. Alright. backwards though, so I'm gonna flip them again. Give me a sec. Oh boy, that's a big order for this week. I didn't think this one was the lighter of the boxes. Speaking of, I already have my books from November 15th. They showed up just a day or two after this box, but I'm gonna hold off so I don't have like a freaking another 2-hour video this week. I'm gonna hold off on here it is. Holy moly. Here's books from the 15th. We're gonna hold off on those until our next video, which will probably be also this week, because I got another couple boxes of FOC books that finally, I don't know what's going on behind me here, sorry, that finally the pushing of the books finally stopped, and I received those 2 FOC orders in this video, and in the next video there were 2 more sets of books that should be here this week. Hopefully before I go back to work, and I can make another video, but another video opening this and more FOC books from Billy. Thank you, Billy. Let's get into the discount comic book service here. First book up, this is Amazing Spider-Man issue number 37. This is the Stormbreakers variant. Never seen this cover before right now. It was not shown in the solicitations, and I didn't remember seeing it on any of the Tuesday shows that showed New Comic Book Day the week it came out. Maybe I wasn't paying attention, or I didn't highlight it, but I'm not sure who the artist is. I think it's Vincentini. Let's see. Yep, Federico Vincentini. Good guess. This is Spider-Gwen, clearly. I was hoping the Stormbreakers books the month before were all Marvel Zombies Stormbreakers. I was hoping this was also going to be a Marvel Zombies, because I don't particularly care for the Stormbreakers covers as a, not as a rule, but as a whole. I don't care for them, especially I don't care for the back. The first ever Stormbreakers I think I'm just bitter because the first ever Stormbreakers cover I got was for Marvel's Dark Ages from Tom Taylor, and that was like, it had this kind of on the front or on the top or the bottom of the main cover, and it was like Spider-Man flying through. Had nothing to do, it's just that it had nothing to do with the content of the book. And this also, again, this is about Spider-Man and Wreck Rap by Zeb Wells and Ed McGuinness. So maybe Spider-Gwen swings through in it. I doubt it. So see, the Stormbreaker covers usually have nothing to do with the issue at hand. Here we have Knights, issue number 2 from Wyatt Kennedy and Luigi Forzamazzo. I don't believe I spoke on Knights number 1. Quite pleased with Knights number 1. It was a thick, beefy page count. I believe it was also a buck or 2 more, but definitely a lot to chew on in there. It definitely did a lot of world building for issue 1. It introduced a lot of characters, a lot of concepts. It's basically a world where vampires resurrected humans and zombies, and haven't seen any werewolves or anything like that yet. But these supernatural aspects walk among regular society, and it's not in a way that is terrifying, or basically humans aren't running and hiding from like a walking skeleton or a vampire. But in the first issue, you find out that there is a dark secret to the female vampire character, who our main character, who is a normal male child, is starting to fall in love with. And then the other thing about Knights is, when I got the end of Knights 1, it says, Knights official merch, available when the issue comes out until the next issue is published, and then never again. And then the first piece of merch was a pretty cool looking t-shirt. I'm like, I'm down with that. I just got paid. Unfortunately, by the time I got around to reading Knights number 1, Knights number 2 is out, and That t-shirt's gone. I haven't looked to see if it's on eBay or anything, but I would have, if I would have known that, I probably would have read Knights a little sooner. Anywho, here is X-Men Red. This is issue 17, the penultimate issue of X-Men Red. I believe both this and Immortal X-Men end with their prospective issue 18s, which are just prior to Fall of the House of X and Rise of the Powers of 10, which conclude the Krakoan era, as we said, but the adjectiveless X-Men title is continuing on during Rise and Fall miniseries. So I will be getting Rise and Fall. I'm just going to let it pile up and read it all at once. The same way I read House of X, Powers of 10. I don't think it's going to be as good because not Hickman, but I have been enjoying Immortal X-Men by Kieran Gillen, who is doing Rise of the Powers of 10, and I have been enjoying, funnily enough, Iron Man from Jerry Dugan, who's writing X-Men at the same time as Iron Man, and Iron Man is a Fall of X tie-in title, since Iron Man is now married to White Queen Emma Frost. This is a X-Men 60th anniversary variant for X-Men Red. I am blanking on the artist, and there's no noticeable signature. But I can probably look at this and it will tell me. Just a moment. XXXXXXX. Dyke Ruan, X-Men 60th variant. It's kind of cool that it is, it's either pencils or it's just black and white, but that's a cool variant. This is another cover I had not seen at FOC. In this box, we have 40 items coming in at $121, so that's just about $4 a piece. So not bad. Next up, we have Hunt for Skinwalker. This is issue number 3. This is a series kind of the same as James Tynion's Blue Book. It's based on actual events. This one's based on a novel entitled Secrets at the Skywalker Ranch, or Skinwalker Ranch, sorry, Secrets at the Skinwalker Ranch. Basically, it's a ranch that this has been noted for having supernatural and alien visitations, and there's been a big book written about it. I believe there's like a History or Discovery Channel miniseries about it, and this is issue 3. This is coming from Zach Thompson, with art by Valerio Berzo, and this is cover A from Martin Simmons. Look at that alien. Look at that. This is what you wish a photo of an alien would look like from a person who takes these photos that are put up online. This is what the picture looks like that you actually probably usually seeing, if not worse. So, there we go. Hunt for the Skinwalker. Here is Star Wars, The High Republic, Series 3, issue number 1. This is cover C. This is a Miko Suyan connecting variant of a set. I believe the first arc will have a connecting set of Miko Suyan character covers, it looks like. This is Kiev Trennis here on cover C. Miko Suyan connecting. And second one. All Star Wars The High Republic titles. I collect 2 titles and stack them. See if it ever hits media or for media. Here is Army of Darkness Forever, issue number 2 from Tony Fleece and Justin Greenwood. Cover A by Francesco Mattina. Excellent, as usual. I'm really disappointed with a Mattina cover. Some are better than others, but I've never seen one where I'm like, ew, that's poopy. Here is Star Wars The High Republic, issue number 1. This is cover B from Annie Wu. This is the Annie Wu variant. And we're seeing double. Just discussed why. So, High Republic, Volume 1. It was pretty good. I liked the Padawan master relationship between Keeve Trennis and Skur, who was her Jedi master, who was also a Trandoshan character. A better known Trandoshan character is obviously Bosk from Empire Strikes Back. But that's the thing. That's one of the main things I like about some of the High Republic literature is characters who in the original trilogies are portrayed as bounty hunters and scoundrels and rogues, such as Wookiees and Trandoshans, are Jedi Masters in 500 years previous in the High Republic. So it's interesting how far a species can fall in a generation. Here is Joker, the Man Who Stopped Laughing. This is the final issue, issue 12 from Matthew Rosenberg, with art by Carmine D. Giamenico, and I don't believe there's a backing story for the first time here. The backing stories have been by I don't want to spoil the ending for myself. The backing stories have been by Francesco Francavilla, so it hasn't been a chore to read in any case. Nope, this is the final issue. It's a full, a full 40-page finale. Joker and Batman, since Joker came out, have been $1 more than any other DC title, just for the crime of being Batman and the Joker. So this is cover. This is cover C from Christian Ward. Not as cool as his 1 in 25 variant, which kind of had the same shtick. I believe his 1 in 25 variant was somewhat the same, but it had a balloon hiding the Joker's face and his face kind of popping through, like not a reflection, but obscured by the balloon. It was a really cool Christian Ward cover variant that if I can find it at a decent price someday, I'll probably add one to my collection. But this cover is pretty cool too. Christian Ward. Next up, Star Wars High Republic, Shadows of Starlight. This is issue number 2. This is cover B. It says C. Smith. It's not Cam Smith, because Cam Smith's an acre. So let's see who it is. Corey Smith. Cover B by Corey Smith. This is, can't remember her name. This is the main general of the Jedi Order at the time. She was behind the creation of the Starlight Beacon. And she was the general. And she fell to Earth with the Starlight Beacon with Keeve Trennis and Skur, and that's how the original series concluded. And this series takes place in the 4 years between Series 3 and the end of Series 1. Series 2 was 100 years prior to Series 1, and I didn't like it. I'll just say it. It was the same plot over like 3 miniseries and a main series. It was all the same plot. Here is a second cover of the Corey Smith cover B. Up next, we have Creepshow, issue number 3. This is cover B by Zoe Thorogood. Really like Zoe Thorogood. She did It's Lonely at the End of the Earth. I hear she's doing great work on a hack slash series. I'm not a fan of hack slash. I might get the trade if the library picks it up for some reason. I'll read it there. But this also features work from Joel Farrelly and Goran Suduka. Is that Joel Farrelly of the Farrelly Brothers? That's crazy. If so, wow. I hope they have like bios in the back and I can see if that. Wow. Is that one of the Farrelly Brothers? I have no idea. Nice cover. Next up, here is Batman. This is issue number 139. This begins the Mind Bomb arc of Batman. Jorge Jimenez returns to the art duties here, but I believe Jorge did the Gotham War parts of Batman. I'm lying. Here, these are cover B by Gabriel Dell'Otto. That's a pretty awesome cover. Last month I took the Halloween chibi variant for some reason, and that was one of my damaged comics that I mentioned earlier. But it's cool. I like that cover a lot. I'm looking forward to reading that. I like it when Chip Zdarsky has Jorge Jimenez to elevate the story somewhat. Here is Enfield Gang Massacre, issue number 4, cover A. This is 1 through 6 of this series in the cover A are a connecting set. I might make a Instagram post panning over the collected set. I've done that on my Instagram in the past for the Hulk and Thor Banner of War storyline in the past. So I might pull those all out at the end and do that again there. Next up, this is also Batman 139. This is a glitch foil variant cover. It is cover I, glitch foil variant cover. There's going to be a series of these over the Mind Bomb story arc. I believe the next one has a Dark Knight version of the Bat logo in the middle, and the third one is listed as Zur-NR, so that should look pretty cool as well. Definitely, it's one of the better looking foil jobs I've seen. DC usually exceeds at it over Marvel. Next up, we have this one I'm definitely looking forward to. Here's Transformers, issue number 2, and the cover B. Cover B is Afu-chan. Afu-chan, I know from Outer Darkness with John Layman. It's basically a comedy horror take on Star Trek. I recommend it to anybody who can find it. Maybe I checked it out free from the library. And it just kind of ended. Didn't really have a conclusion. It basically, both Volume 1 and Volume 2 had their own story arc. And then at the end of the second story arc, there was still threads remaining. And then there was a Outer Darkness crossover with Chew, which is also by John Layman. And that was just its own story. It had nothing to do with the main Outer Darkness series. So I'm not sure if they're planning to ever bring it back. But there are a lot of threads among characters within Outer Darkness that may or may not ever be finished up. Here is House of Slaughter, issue number 19, the penultimate issue of this current arc, Alabaster. This is cover B from Werther Dell'Edera. So these all have this style, and I believe they may also connect. From what I look at one and then I look at the next, and like these shapes, it just might. I might pull those all out and check out if there's any connectage. Here is, they're not listed as having a connection like the cardstock on the previous Butcher arc 11 through 15 had cardstock variants that were listed as connecting. I'll have to connect those up on a future video or short. Here is the third one. I get 3 copies of all open order covers on House of Slaughter. Here is cover C. Is it C? Cover C from Raoul Allen with a spot UV effect. There's been one of these on each issue of the arc. So this current arc is about a little boy who is affectionately referred to as Bait by the other white masks in his family. And he basically, he's just that. He's Bait. He goes out into the field to lure in obscure types so the rest of the pack can hunt and kill them. And this is his little side mission where he's been put into a what would be the word? He's put into a foster home as a front to try and see if there are monsters in the area, and whatever, and start to lure them out. So that's what that arc is mainly about, and him meeting a girl and he's starting to fall in love with her. Here is Dark Spaces Hollywood Special issue 3. I thought this was a one-shot when I started buying this, but it is a mini-series in itself. These series were originally listed as Scott Snyder Presents. Scott Snyder is obviously writing Dungeon, and he wrote the original Dark Spaces series Wildfire, and then there are other series. I don't know. This is cover. Let me check the cover. Cover B by Danny. Danny, who did that Deviant variant. Yep. This is by Lambert and Rowe with colors by Belair. Next up is issue 10 of The Dead Lucky. I believe this is cover A by French Carlo Magno. This series, I think, is coming to a close at issue 12. This is from Black Market Narrative, part of the Massive Verse, with Radiant Black and Inferno Glow Red and No One and Rogue Sun. I haven't heard if Rogue Sun is ending at the end of its current arc or not, but Radiant Black is still going. No One is a 10-issue series. I wonder if they're going to replace the Dead Lucky with another extended character from the Massiveverse, or a newly introduced character in the Massiveverse, or if they're going to be... There hasn't been a lot of teaming up of the books themselves. There's just been the one-shot jam issues where characters interact with each other. I think they're called Supermassive. There's been 2 of those specials. Here's Gods, issue number 2 from Jonathan Hickman and Valerio Schiti. Cover A by Mateus Mahanini. Enjoyed number 1 quite a bit. It was beefy page count and read, and excessively priced. I will jump on that bandwagon online. People who say it was excessively priced. Here's Transformers issue number 2, cover A by Daniel Warren Johnson. The series is written and drawn and possibly lettered by Daniel Warren Johnson. Great creator. Now he's working on a great subject matter that I have definite interest in. I'm happy to be able to collect one of his series. I almost got Better Red Bill a couple years back, but held off. I did not collect Do a Powerbomb. I have that trade and Murder Falcon in the other room, checked out from the library. I am definitely going to read them here in the future. Here is Punisher, issue number 1. This is the new number 1 Punisher from David Pepose, with art by David Wachter. I believe this is cover A. I believe Wachter is on the A cover. Nope. Cover A is by Rod Rice. And there's that horrid Marvel stripe on the top of cover A's. Rod Rice doing cover A. And there is a wonderful variant cover by, I can't remember who it's by, but it's the Punisher's standing back to you, and his shadow is made out of spent bullet casings. So if I find one of those at the LCS or discounted in the future, I'll pick one of those up. I've heard mixed reviews on this. Some of the channels I watched enjoyed it. A couple that I've watched in particular said this worst thing ever. I will make my own opinion on that. Up next is Shazam, issue number 5 from Mark Waid, with art by Dan Mora, cover A from Dan Mora. Just saw the solicits for February, issue 8. Dan Mora's off the book for that issue, and if the solicit for issue 9 comes out before I have to lock in my order for that month at Discount Comic Book Service, and Mora is still gone, I'm gone. I mean, Shazam's okay. He's always been like, I don't dislike the character. I enjoyed both movies, but let's put it this way: Wade and Mora, they're one of my favorite teams in comics. This is awesome. Batman Superman's World's Finest is awesome. And there have been fill-in two-parters that have been clearly labeled as two-parters with Batman Superman's World's Finest. But I just want them to tell me if Mora's off the book after issue 7, I'm off. Because I don't like Shazam that much. And Wade is a good writer, but if you saddle Wade with mediocre art, it's not as good. Here is Birds of Prey, issue number 3 from Kelly Thompson with art by Leonardo Romero and colors that a certain channel cannot stand from Jordi Belair. Honestly, this is probably one of the better colored issues thus far. I don't see... There's not very many pages I can show that don't have an ad on the other side of them. Damn. This is like crazy, man. Like, I went through like almost the whole issue and this is the only 2-page spread. I don't see the beef with these colors. They're not terrible. I mean, they were kind of weird definitely for the first and second issues. They didn't exactly pop, but they do suit the subject matter to me. This is cover A by Leonardo Romero. Fine with me. If other channels and YouTubers and peeps can't get past it, you can't get past it. Here is Star Wars: The High Republic, Series 3, number 1. This is cover A from Phil Noto. This looks a lot like issues 1 and 15 of Volume 1. The first ever High Republic cover had 3 characters, lightsabers out with this little V shape in the circle with a spacecraft. In the first issue it was the Starlight Beacon, and the 15th issue it was the beacon falling on fire from the sky, and this one we have a starship. And I'll get a second one. Unlike my Shadows of Starlight issues ones, these are all in excellent shape. Those were some of the aforementioned dropped comics from last month's box. Getting close to the bottom of this stack. Next up is, speaking of Shadows of Starlight, issue number 2, cover A. It's also by Phil Noto. Phil Noto's doing those covers, yeah. So he's doing cover A's on both series, Shadows of Starlight and Volume 3. Issue 1 was excellent. It takes place after the fall of the Starlight Beacon. The Jedi are trying to decide if they're going to do a face front assault on the Nihil, or Nihil, however you say their name. Yoda's against that and says we need to focus and do the meditation and the focus and regroup. And other Jedis are like, no, let's take this on. And meanwhile, there's a Jedi who has kind of been out of the Order for a long time, who is mysteriously discovered near the wreckage of the beacon, and he's wearing a blindfold the whole time, and he's like, I saw the nameless monster. I can't remember the nameless monster anymore. The monster that can turn a Jedi into a desiccated husk and flake off into, turn them into stone and they flake off in the dust. That's what happens when a Jedi looks at this, other than being scared. He's like, I saw this and I survived it, and I'm going to take you to a place where you can learn more about it. And Yoda says, okay. And like, all the other Jedi's are like, I get a strong dark side vibe off this dude. And Yoda's like, I got him. It's on me. I'll do it. And so this guy's actually luring Yoda and this starship into enemy space where the Nihil are able to destroy other starships not involving Yoda and this guy. And then the guy takes off his blindfold and he's like, I'm telling you, I see the light. And his eyes are cored out of his head. And that was awesome. It was like definitely a very interesting first issue. I quite enjoyed it. And then I believe issue 2 jumps to just immediately after issue 15, where they had landed with the beacon, and you find out what happened to Kiev and the general in Skier. So I can't remember the general's name. Here is Spawn Scorched, issue number 23. This is now being written by John Layman, aforementioned John Layman of Outer Darkness. And the art is still by Steven Segovia. This is cover A by Dan Panosian. Man, this is a sick cover. Dan did some really good covers as featured artist. I'm kind of like up and down on the featured artist each month on the Spawnverse books. It's like some months half of them are good, some months none of them are good, you know. But at least they show them all, you know, so you don't have to like fly blind like I have to sometimes. Just Creepshow number 3, cover A. These are by the Batman guy, Guillaume March, doing a Crypt Keeper horror here for Creepshow number 3. Okay, this is 2 more books, but multiples of this one. We have House of Slaughter. This is issue 19, cover A by Rodriguez. Let's get his first name. We'll get it there. We'll get it at the end. Don't spoil the end. Don't spoil the end. Javier Rodriguez doing the cover A on this arc. The penultimate issue of Alabaster, featuring the aforementioned Bait and his side mission at the orphanage. It looks like the rest of the white masks are nearby now, and they're getting ready to take out whatever he finds, and possibly all of his friends at the orphanage, because no witnesses to the monsters in Something's Killing Children universe. Last book of week 2 is Death Drop Drag Assassin, issue number 2. This is Scout Comics. This is David Hazan of David Hazan does Nottingham at Mad Cave, and then he just finished up what was the name of that book with the wizards? A wizard book at Mad Cave. That series just finished up. Monomyth. He just finished up Monomyth. Monomyth started out, first issue was really good. The concept was really good. I'm glad it had kind of like a sting at the end, but it didn't have something that says, "Hey, I have to continue reading the next arc," because it's not as good as Nottingham. I enjoyed issue 1 of Death Drag. We'll see how it continues. And here I am opening comixtribe's latest Kickstarter for Epic. Superhero teen action is the tagline. So we're gonna see if this is like possibly aping what's that title? The one it's on Amazon. I can't remember what it's called. The Kirkman one, you know what it's called. Invincible. Let's see. I don't know if this is just gonna ape Invincible or if it's its own thing, but I think it's gonna be more what would you call it? This is gonna be more I can't remember what I'm saying here. This is gonna be more original, I think, than just aping of an aping of Invincible, because comixtribe sank the standard. What else did I read? Oh God, what was that title I just read? The one by Joel Mulvey about the amusement park that predates Dark Ride. So who ripped off who? That was really good quality. So here is their latest Kickstarter. This is Epic. This is the number 1 pilot special issue. This is written by Tyler James, who is the as we approach hour 30 for the 3rd straight video. Am I talking too much? I want anybody who even makes it this far into the video to put a comment on this video and let me know how I can pare it down. No reviews. Put the reviews in their own video. Open less books. I don't know. I need to know why these are running up to an hour and 30. But and thank you to my commenter 2 videos ago, and thank you to the several who watched the last video. And I know you're not watching it all, and I'm going to continue to put timestamps in videos going forward, so you can jump from here to there, so you don't have to watch everything or hear me burp right there. Epic superhero teen action from Tyler James, who is the publisher at comixtribe, and Matt Zollman and Fico Ossio. This was Fico Ossio before he kind of popped big, before he started doing extra work at Dark Horse, and now he's over at DC and Marvel. So these covers are all Fico Ossio, I believe. I don't know if he does interior work or just covers, but so that's the pilot. Here is issue one of the miniseries. I kind of like how the pilot and issue 1 have the little spot foil enhancement on the title. That's cool. Here is issue number 2. Let's put it on the floor. Here's issue number 3. And the Kickstarter that I backed was for the concluding part 2 arc number 1, issue number 4. I believe Fico Ossio is listed on all 4 books. I believe he is the cover artist, and I believe Matt Zollman is our main artist. And then here are the extra stretch goal goodies I received. I got a metal bookmark and 2 metal trading cards. Pretty cool. For I just put the basic catch-up tier, and for backing at that level, I received all continuing stretch goals, and I'm super excited because the very next comixtribe Kickstarter, which was supposed to be at the end of 2023, I believe is being pushed into the first quarter of 2024, is going to be Sync number 12 Monsters from John Lees and Alex Cormack. I'm 100% on board, day one backer, and I originally read that they're going to put Sync 12 and 13 as like a prestige bound Kickstarter. So and the only way to get it is to back the Kickstarter, and then all 5 issues will release at local comic shops after it's all done being kickstarted, with alternate cover art monthly, as the first 10 issues were after their Kickstarters. So, I mean, that's the case. I'd love to see some prestige sync with 2 issues at once, so we can get them out sooner, of course, and get my gory little paws on them. So that is it for this week. Well, for today. Hopefully, also in a day or so, end of the week, we'll crack into this bad boy. This is books from the 15th of November, and a little goodie for myself, collected edition that came through. If you've been watching any other YouTuber channels, you know what collected editions came out on the 15th. So yeah, I'll open that, and I have 2 more FOC orders from Billy at Economics and Comics, so we'll rip through those. I won't have time to do many reviews from reading any of this. I'm probably gonna take these to work and read them on breaks over the next however long. So I'll probably lay off on reviews until the video after next. So my next video will definitely not exceed 90 minutes, as these last 3 have. thank you, everybody. Like I said, try and help me out. If you enjoy my content, leave me a comment and let me know. Let me know how the length is, how the overall content is. If I'm putting you to sleep, that's all I need to know. I'm doing this for me, but I also want to provide something for the community. So everybody, stay safe out there. We'll see you next time, and take care.